Hey everybody, welcome back here to another video, my friends. We got ourselves a lot of activity here in the tropics that's been kicking up here with a new storm. We got Tropical Storm Gabrielle. I think that's how you pronounce it anyways, as well as two other disturbances we are going to be looking at here in this video. Now guys, if you're new to the channel, consider leaving a like and hitting that subscribe button. Be greatly appreciated, my friends, and let's go ahead and jump right on into it. Alrighty, so first things first, we're taking a look here at the National Hurricane Center's page here, where we do have newly formed Tropical Storm Gabrielle, which we are currently seeing 50-mile-per-hour sustained winds out of the storm. Obviously, some higher gusts likely up towards 60 or 70 miles an hour likely occurring. Central low pressure down to 1,005 millibars here, and the movement is northwest at 14 miles per hour. Now, on the forecast track here, the good news is that the system's expected to remain mostly away from areas of land. This could get pretty close to Bermuda down in the future, which we'll have to look into. But the system is going to be over open waters for at least the next several days here, only kind of holding that tropical storm strength. But it's not until right around the afternoon on Sunday where we actually do have the potential of the system becoming a hurricane here from the Hurricane Center here, as it does kind of get a little bit closer to Bermuda. Now, Bermuda's not currently under any danger at the moment. They definitely should be monitoring this system here, but there's still a lot of things that can change between now and then. The system could be completely off course by the time we get to that time frame. So, while they do need to watch it, there's no reason for panic or no reason for fear or anything like that here. So, looking at the wind field, here's actually the previous wind history. Let's actually bring up the current wind field here. So, it's a decent sized wind field. You got the Antilles here, just well off to the east here for the most part. Should not really pose any concern for my folks up there by, the Virgin Islands, the Antilles, Puerto Rico. These islands should be actually pretty well from this storm system here in general. So things are looking pretty good here overall. Now, hopping away over here back to the main page of the Hurricane Center, we do actually have not one but two other disturbances here. Both of these guys have an overall 20% chance of formation here. So we're not, the probability of this thing developing here anytime soon is very, very much unlikely. These are two new disturbances, so the probability overall is probably going to be increasing possibly over the next few days. But right now, the probability is only 20% chance for both of them, which is pretty darn low. So these guys are really not anything to worry about right now. Yes, we'll definitely keep an eye on it, and we'll definitely be watching it pretty closely. But, right now, the main thing we need to look out for is Gabrielle. That's the main system that we do need to be looking out here for within the near future. All right, everybody, so now we're going to work our way over here into the models here. We're going to look at those individual models here to start things off. So first, we're going to look at the GFS, then the Euro, then CMC, and then we'll look at these spaghetti models and everything like that you guys need to look at. So, hopping on into it here, we have the newly ran GFS. This is the 12 UTC run here from today. So we work our way down in time. Now, honestly, here's the thing. The new GFS really doesn't have much with the system here, which is a big change from the last couple of runs here. We go back to runs basically earlier before then. Wow, this in particular run was kind of the same here too. It seems like the GFS might be kind of waning down a little bit. Yeah, the previous runs from yesterday showed the system, really cranking here. But, the new runs from the GFS, it almost seems like there's not as much support anymore, which is a very, very interesting take here. Now, looking at the ECMWF here, this is the run from earlier today here. This is the 12 Zulu run as well. Euro, on the other hand, still does have the system, picking up here. I don't know what's going on with GFS. That model's pretty interesting sometimes. So, it could just be a little temporary fluctuation in the models. But, who knows? It could come back here, which is a good possibility. But, Euro here, the last run here, still has a system, just remaining east of Bermuda here as, the pressure does get down into right around the 970s, which would indeed be kind of right around hurricane strength here. So, Euro still definitely supports it. Now, looking at CMC here, CMC also supports it as well. So it kind of seems like the GFS here is kind of the outcast model as of right now. There's a few things I do want to look into here with you guys, in that actually is being wind shear. Wind shear is one thing that's not really good for tropical cyclones, and it really doesn't seem like there's going to be a whole lot of wind shear here in the future for the system. As we do approach out there by, towards Bermuda, that's when it really could start to encounter some wind shear, as we do have the jet stream kind of dipping down into the Gulf and shooting up, to the northeast here overall. So, in the far-fetched, long term here, the system will likely run into some wind shear, which would basically just kind of rip apart the system here at some point. But we'll continue watching out there for that. And another thing I do want to look at here is the amount of moisture here in the system. Very, very important. It looks like there's a lot of dry air that's just going to be kind of getting fed into the system. I mean, looking at the satellite view right now, you can already see, central circulation's right in here, and all the convection's pushed to the northeast. There's a lot of just dry air in this environment here, which is, really kind of preventing the system from, really convecting and, really getting a lot of that activity going here. But anyways, so dry air is definitely going to be a concern. Models do eventually have it pulling into, pulling in a little bit more moisture and, getting a bit more organized here overall. So, we'll definitely just have to see what happens. Now, taking a look here at the spaghetti model. So this is the latest spaghetti model run. So you can see we have a lot of, uncertainty still here overall. So there is Bermuda, that little speck right there. You got some of the models that really shoot their way over here to the east, and you got some models that shoot their way a little bit to the west here. Bermuda kind of in the middle here. So there's obviously a lot of disagreement here between the models, in which that is a big concern because, there's likely going to be some big changes in the forecast here, just given how much uncertainty there is overall. Now, in terms of the intensity, the same models, but just plotted on the intensity guidance here, you can see that the middle ground, has sustaining tropical storm force for the next several days. Majority of models, obviously we have a big split here, about 96 to 108 hours out or so. There is a big difference out here. Some models keeping it within tropical storm standards, and then you got a couple of models that really actually get the system going into hurricane force. So obviously we'll just have to see what happens. As of right now, there's a big a big disagreement really going on between the intensity as well as the track here of this system. So we'll keep you guys up to date with everything. We'll make sure to keep you guys informed with everything going on. Once again, Bermuda should definitely watch this system. We'll continue to monitor the system here over the next several days. But at the current moment, there is no hazards for anybody here right now, so that's certainly good. But once again, if that does change, we'll be sure to let you guys know. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for joining. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, my friends. See ya later on.